everybody? Welcome to TraderMerlin Show. Happy Monday. Happy Crypto Melt-Up Day. It was fun doing a presentation over the weekend. I actually did a presentation for the Los Angeles group. I did one last night for Sacramento. And then this morning I did one for Irvine, California. I'll be doing a lot more of these talks, joining Larry Jacobson and Todd Davis, talking about all things market related. But my specific segment was crypto. Could not be more aptly timed. That will be the topic for today, at least the very beginning of it. And then we'll go into whatever listener questions you guys have. Congratulations to Lisa. You did beat Les to be the first to comment in chat today, so good to have you with us, Lisa. Les, you better step up your game, buddy. You're second place now. Kenny, good to have you with us as well. Siraj, Big Eb. We've got Shinobi over in the UK. Good to have you with us, Brian. Tomasino, Walter. Mario, we got Eric, Rick. Man, I feel like Lisa, what's that? What was her name from Romper Room? I feel like that's me today. Good, there we go. Mr. Barr, good to have you with us. Cut to it. And Mr. Collins. Chris, good to have you with us as well. Mimi, J Best Entertainment. Man, I got everybody with us today. Loving it. Good. Here is what I'm going to focus on, at least for the very beginning, and just calling it crypto melt-up. And it's not like this is new to cryptocurrencies by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it was noteworthy to talk about what were some of the factors contributing to this. You have this perfect storm of variables lining up for a big move in cryptos. And it's funny because this to me is almost like something that Wall Street bets should be talking about, right? A short squeeze. So I'll start with, I'm going to start with the pieces that I think are the most important with regards to why we've seen such a move over the last, let's just say 48 hours. You could even go just the last 24. Let me see if I can bring up some charts here for you. I didn't keep my, my TradingView open, did I? Ooh. Well, we'll just open it up for you guys right now. So Bitcoin actually right now is in an absolute free fall, which is ironic because it was just going absolutely straight up a little while ago. So I will bring up both of those for you. Let me bring up TradingView so I get more crypto views. Give me just a second here. I did not have it prepared. Okay, so here we have TradingView, and I'll bring up the chart of some of the major cryptocurrencies out there. This is a 5 minute of Ethereum, and you guys can see it's just absolutely cratering right now. So is Bitcoin. Bitcoin just a little bit ago was up over $40,000. It was over $40,500 to be correct, and it's fallen $3,000 in the last hour and a half. So yeah, it's plummeting right now. But if we zoom out just a little bit, and I switch this over to, let's say, a daily time frame, you guys can see that it has been. It's still great, right? We've had monster moves. It's holding those moves. Conveniently enough, we came right up into that overhead supply level that goes back into June 14th on Bitcoin. Very logical point for it to have some difficulty getting above, and it just came ripping back down. So technically, that's what we're looking at least with Bitcoin, and I will go through and look at a lot of other ones here. If you guys have specific ones you want me to check out, just let me know, and we will bring those ones up as well. Yes, Mike, I am old enough to watch Romper Room. I really wanted to be on Romper Room at some point, but never quite made it onto Romper Room. So, yes, we can look at all these different cryptocurrencies. They're all going to have the same basic shape. For example, here's Ethereum, big old rally. Here's Polkadot, big old rally. Litecoin, big old rally. Here's Ripple, well, big old rally. Right now, a lot of interest surging in the space. And I think a lot of it has to do, which is what's called the B word. It was an interview with Jack Dorsey of Twitter, Elon Musk of course, Elon Musk, and Cathie Wood of ARK Fund. And all three of those were really just sharing their viewpoints on cryptocurrencies, particularly for Bitcoin. There was some talk about Dogecoin. But what I found interesting was all three of their stances on Bitcoin wasn't just mildly bullish. It was pretty aggressively bullish, particularly with Jack Dorsey. He seems to be very, very bullish on cryptocurrency as becoming the native. I thought this was interesting. Not replacing the dollar. That didn't come up. It was the native currency of the internet, which would be rather interesting to see a separate currency just for the kind of digital ecosystem. And he thought that Bitcoin was kind of the leader there. I think there's other ones that could be better for that from a transactional perspective. But the talk track was rather positive from Jack Dorsey. Elon Musk was also very bullish on it and really talking about how he'll go back to accepting Bitcoin at Tesla once we get enough, we'll just say conscious energy consumption. Right now, the proof of work consensus algorithm that Bitcoin uses, yes, it uses a lot of energy, and he feels it's too much. And once it gets better, he'll go back to Bitcoin. What was noteworthy, though, is Tesla holds Bitcoin, SpaceX holds Bitcoin, and Elon Musk himself says, I'm holding Bitcoin. He also owns Ethereum, and he also owns Dogecoin, which, of course, is his pump and dump hobby. To me, that's noteworthy because you have three very prominent people, and Cathie Wood as well, very bullish on Bitcoin and making Bitcoin acquisitions. That I think made more people feel comfortable with it. I know that Elon Musk is volatile. It almost seems like he's bipolar sometimes with his views on cryptos, but a lot of people look at Cathie Wood as the driving force for technology right now, and Jack Dorsey as well with his work with Twitter. So I think that was your main fuel for it. But then we have another interesting thing, and I had a graphic earlier that showed the short interest on Bitcoin. Now, it used to be that you could not short Bitcoin. And as we see these markets evolve, you saw margin trading come into the cryptocurrency exchanges. Once margin trading was there, now you could short Bitcoin. Then we had Bitcoin futures open in December of 2017. We had both the CBOE and the CME futures products come to market. The CME is the one that's still around. The CBOE has disappeared because it was not a good product. We also have micro futures now, which those two products give everybody the potential to short Bitcoin. And of course, when you have a chart that looks like this, just spiking up and reaching all-time highs of over 60,000 and then cratering, that brings in more shorting. And if you go back a week, so let me scroll this chart over here and just say right to here. You know, if we look at that chart from that perspective right there, you guys know me well enough, what would I be saying, right? I would be saying, stay short, right? The trend is your friend to the bend at the end. It's trending down, stay short. And then after the B word conference, which was Elon Musk, Cathie Wood, Jack Dorsey, you all of a sudden saw things spike one day, and then that follow through has been rallying. Now, of course, we saw the extreme volatility today, but that's really nothing compared to the volatility we saw back in February, March, April, May of this year, right? Tons of volatility. Now, if you take into consideration the fact that you have three of some of the most powerful people in the tech space all saying, hey, Bitcoin's good. And then the unconfirmed report, and this might be the biggest factor of all, and I think if this news does come out, then I think you'll see Bitcoin back up at 60,000 by the end of next month. If this news comes out and is verified, and that news is this. Over the past few years, we've heard a lot about Amazon coming and accepting cryptocurrencies as payment on Amazon.com. And it never came to fruition. We know because of some of the transactions and purchases that Amazon has made, and also their hiring, their postings for hirings, that they're looking to do their own cryptocurrency and blockchain product. I think the perfect gateway to get things going, though, is to actually accept some cryptocurrency. So a lot of us that are fans of crypto have been waiting for this for a while, but we've heard the talk track a lot. It's happened many times. They say Amazon's going to accept Bitcoin, and that was part of the pump rally. There's an unconfirmed report today that Jeff Bezos basically said, look, I want to be accepting Bitcoin by the end of the year. And then once that's stable, then we'll start accepting other cryptocurrencies. So, man, if you look at the biggest tech influencers around the world, you've got Elon Musk, Cathie Wood, Jack Dorsey, and now Jeff Bezos. If he comes on board saying, hey, Bitcoin's legit, I'm buying Bitcoin, we're accepting Bitcoin, my prediction for 100,000 may actually come sooner rather than later. And for those that might be new to the program, my prediction was, or my forecast, I don't like saying prediction, my forecast was that by January 1st of 2023, Bitcoin will be at $100,000. And I think that that's based off of just pure supply and demand. I have three factors. Supply and demand, I count that as one factor. You also have destruction. Okay, we'll call it, that's it. Supply and demand and destruction of Bitcoin is going to cause that big rally up to 100,000 plus. And I think 5 to 10 years, you're looking at much, much higher than that. So very positive pieces out there. If we get Elon Musk and crew to continue to support Bitcoin, if we get Cathie Wood, Jack Dorsey, and other tech-heavy people, including Jeff Bezos, to come online, then I think you got a huge move to the upside. What do you say, Brandon Mundell? Anytime Brandon says my name, I'm nervous. Let's see. Tom Barr, that is a pattern by Sam Seiden, but it's really 40,000, so it's a rough area to break. What's a pattern by Sam Seiden? Sam Seiden's got no pattern. Sam Seiden's throw a dart at the chart and saying, yeah, okay, here's a supply level. Yeah, it's really strong. Okay, here's supply. Here's demand. Yeah, I'm going to put 20 other levels on here so you guys find the right one. Okay? That's Sam. With regards to crypto, I'll make one other thought here, which is if you look at the way that prices have formed over the past couple weeks and the way that the news has hit kind of bam, bam, bam with all these major people making these statements, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you will probably not see Bitcoin go below 30,000 again. I'm really thinking that that's done. I don't think you're going to see Bitcoin back below 30,000 anytime soon. Even though we're falling aggressively right now, I think that the teeter-totter that I look at, which is really saying demand versus supply, and you have the media swaying things right now, going after stablecoins and saying, look, stablecoins are dangerous. And I actually do agree with our regulators here in saying stablecoins are dangerous. Not all of them, but if you look at Tether's backed by a whole bunch of derivatives, right? And we know that derivative products can blow up. That's essentially what happened with Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, right? Derivatives killed them. Well, knowing that the largest stablecoin out there is backed by derivatives scares me and should scare the entire crypto space, which I believe is me personally, I believe that's why you saw a lot of the crypto sell-off. So, if you remove that factor of volatility or unstableness from stablecoins and you get regulation in there and say, yeah, you can have stablecoins. We're not worried about stablecoins. We just want to make sure that you have legitimate things backing those stablecoins to remove the risk for investors. Once that happens, then you have market stability. Then all of a sudden, confidence is reassured in the crypto space and we think things start to move. So, talk about a whole bunch of different things. We have the tech heavyweights supporting it, the potential for Amazon jumping on board. We have the short squeeze, which is another piece here. Remember I told you could short it because of the futures contracts. I was reading something that said over the last 24 hours, there have been $1 billion worth of short positions liquidated. Meaning in the futures markets, there was over $1 billion worth of people shorting the crypto space. And all of a sudden we get a short squeeze. Bring it on, guys. Let's squeeze it even harder and pop this thing back up to where it was up at 60. Granted, you will get more people coming on and shorting this thing going forward. It's just par for the course. It's what happens. No big deal. But as long as demand exceeds supply, I'm pretty sure price can only move in one direction. And because of the limited ceiling on things like Bitcoin, then I think you'll see prices go even higher. And Brendan says here, Merlin, the adoption trend is huge. I agree. I gave a presentation today where I basically calculate out the number of people who were using the internet back in 1995. And that was 15 million. 15 million out of 270 million people were using the internet back in 1995. That's roughly 6% of the population. You fast forward to 1999, you're looking at about 280 million people using the internet and population about 330 million. You're looking at roughly 90%. And if we get any sort of adoption like that, if we get an adoption rate that goes from, let's say, 6% even to 12%, well, Bitcoin's price should, in theory, double. But if we get that 10x factor or 20x factor, as Brendan just says here, the price of Bitcoin could be significantly higher. And there's one variable that no one really talks about. I know Brendan and Tom and I and Big Ed, we've mentioned here on the program a couple times, which is not the adoption is important because that fuels demand. But if we look at the ceiling on it, you've got 21 million Bitcoin and more are being lost every day. People are losing their private keys. They technically disappear. Stuff will go away. So, to me, you have actually demand is spiking and supply is actually tapering off. And I would say going down and declining because of lost Bitcoin. All right, let me see what else I got. I got a whole bunch of comments on here. Load the boat, methodically, of course. Yes, I did buy some last night. I actually added a new position to my portfolio. I added some Solana. That's a new one for me. I don't have any Solana in my portfolio, so now I think I'm 23 positions. But I'm constantly adding and looking at projects that I think have long-term validity. It's not about what's going to make a quick buck for me. That would be nice, but I'd rather buy the next Google or Amazon and hopefully hold that one from its infancy to a legit, massive, gigantic company, which could happen. Yes, Brendan, I was always making fun of that one too. My mom, she corners me one day at the house, and she's got this little CD-ROM. She goes, Merlin, you're gonna love this. You're gonna check this out. I can now chat with people from around the world. And I'm like, it's called a telephone, Mom. I don't care. She goes, no, I'm doing it through my computer. And I just didn't really grasp how important that was. It was no big deal to me. Had I listened to my mom, because my mom was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be huge. I should have just bought all I could of AOL, right? Or any internet stocks, and I'd have been absolutely slaughtering it. That was like, I want to say 93 or 94 when things were just getting going. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? 3 words that mean absolutely nothing in the financial space. All right, let's see here. What else do we got? Can you explain simple moving average versus exponential moving average? Sure, Tony. Let me get through this topic, and then I'll do that. And I apologize for imitating Sam. There's some people that really just get on my nerves and annoy me, but oh well. What else do I have here? Yes, I did see some exchange of lowering leveraging. Yes, and I think that that's part of why you saw the market surge, is because people were using leverage. You can go to, I think even Kraken will give you 5 to 1. Well, that's kind of crazy. If I go in there with 100 grand, I can now trade $500,000, and you get people who will just load up, which is great when things are moving in your favor. But when things start to fall apart and start to go down and you're leveraged 5 to 1, you're getting liquidated, which is part of the reason I think you saw this huge sell-off in Bitcoin. I'll bring it up here again. You look how quickly it went up and how quickly it came down with these really big spikes. To me, this was, it started down and then all of a sudden liquidating people who were maxed out 5 to 1 or maxed out on their margin. If they're maxed out on their margin, they'll liquidate you. There's nothing you can do about it, man. You get forced to sell. Same thing in futures, same thing as in equity, same things in just about any asset class is forced selling. All right, let's see. What else? Which is a thank you. Yeah, I would love to find the Litecoin that I lost, even though it's a couple $100. They're donating their Bitcoin to the network, Merlin. Yes, they are. I agree. Well, you know what? It's funny. That's one of the fastest ways you learn. I'll tell you what. As soon as I made that mistake with Litecoin, where I literally sent $150 twice to different Litecoin addresses, and I realized I had the wrong screen up and didn't have the private key to the address I just sent it to. So those will sit there forever. Those will never be that $300 worth of Litecoin, which essentially was about one Litecoin when I did it, will never be claimed. That's gone from supply, right? So you think, oh, great, there's 84 million Litecoin. No, there's 83,999,999 because I literally ditched one, burned one, and it will never come back again. Oh, well. You worked for the late 90s AOL, Brian? Awesome. I'm hoping you got some stock options because, man, they were the deal back in the late 90s, and then all of a sudden just couldn't hold it together, could they? Competition came in and destroyed them. NJ, I'm not really a fan of Ethereum Classic. I think that, what happened was they had to roll back the blockchain because of the theft that happened back in, what was it, 2000, I want to say 15? I don't know, 14, 15. There was a decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO, DAO, that was started on the Ethereum blockchain. And it looked very promising, and then long story short, the code was exploited and somebody found some loopholes and basically extracted a whole bunch of Ethereum from it. They went back on that and rolled back the blockchain on it to get that money back. And then they forked the chain. And Ethereum, which is the one I'm invested in, I'm much more bullish on that because that's, I believe, where the developers went. I believe the developers are working on Ethereum. The ecosystem now for Ethereum is much stronger. I would argue it's probably one of the strongest communities out there because of all of the different projects on it. I did a presentation on Saturday. I think, Tom, you were in that one up in Woodland Hills or somewhere in LA. And I believe the number I used was 11,000? I think it was like 11,045 new cryptocurrencies, right? That's how many there were. Just total, 11,045. And let's see, it changes so much. Let's see, here's CoinMarketCap. Right now there's 11,064. So since I gave this presentation on Saturday, there's 19 new cryptocurrency projects that are out there. I'm willing to bet you that probably 15 of those are on the Ethereum blockchain, right? These guys are tied to it. So you have this massive codependency on Ethereum. It's not on ETH Classic. So, there might be a use case, but I'm going to go with the one that has the better technology, more development, the better community, and the more prospects going forward. If Ethereum can pull off what they want to do, meaning they do the transition from proof of work to proof of stake. They also implement the different sharding technologies and scaling up to different technologies to help with scaling. Then I think Ethereum will probably be the number one holding in my portfolio. I think it'll get better and better and better. So, for me, I would pick Ethereum over Ethereum Classic, but that's just me. Let's see, what else do I got here? Merlin has to pull a McAfee and cut something. No. That has to be one of the funniest Funniest comments I've ever heard in my life. I was actually kind of hoping to see it hit 500,000. For those who don't know, John McAfee said on air, he says if Bitcoin doesn't hit 500,000 by, what was it? It was actually a couple years ago, right? By 2000, I don't know. It was relatively recently, but if it doesn't hit this price level, he was going to cut off his his genitalia on live television, which I thought, God, nobody really wants to see that, period. Whether you're showing it or cutting it, no one wants to see that. But unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but fortunately, he doesn't have to cut off his privates for that. Let's see. No OG Chad, Brendan. Oh my goodness. That was what a stupid character, but that was funny. OG Chad. What else do I got from you guys? Hey, NJ, thank you so much. And also, I saw a contribution back here earlier from Les Gold, so thank you guys so much. I do appreciate when you guys send in a contribution. That helps me. Shinobi Brian says, Litecoin is finite supply then? I thought it was similar to Doge, but that's probably only because it's script. No, it's exactly, if you think what Litecoin is identical to Bitcoin, except for a couple things. The script algorithm, the number of coins is just times 4. So there was 21 million Bitcoin, there's 84 million Litecoin. Block time for Bitcoin is 10 minutes. Block time for Litecoin divided by 4 is 2.5 minutes. So they basically just took the code, reworked it a little bit, tried to speed it up, made the block size bigger, and done deal. That's what you got. So it'll be 84 million is the total amount of Litecoin that'll be in circulation. So you have another one that's fixed. Brendan says, I own Litecoin. It's junk in my opinion. Rather own Bitcoin or Ethereum. I own a pretty good portion of Litecoin. I think that the long-term use case isn't there. I think you got to figure out what is Litecoin trying to do. Litecoin was trying to speed up transactions and block time settlements. That's why they did the whole multiplier of 4. But if you look out there now, there's some that are so much faster at transactions that I would be moving. My interest would be on other technologies out there. I mean, even like Solana, I believe the literature I was reading says they're able to do 10,000 transactions per second, which if they can pull that off, that actually makes them a direct competitor of something like Visa or MasterCard, who's doing 2,500 transactions per second. So, all right, let's see. Cool. Let's see what else. I was in the Woodland Hills session and you used me. Yep, I did. I wish I could send you over 100,000 worth of Bitcoin, buddy. It was a hypothetical. I wish I could. It'd be nice to be that rich. I'm like, you know what? You participated. Here's 100 grand. I wish I could do that. All right. So Brendan says Lightning Network makes Litecoin obsolete. I don't think it makes it necessarily obsolete, because what happens if Litecoin does something similar? Then all of a sudden, if you stack them up side by side, you have one that has a 10-minute block time, one has a 2.5-minute block time. If I'm a consumer looking to make transactions and I need, speed of execution is critical, I'm more inclined to use Litecoin. I prefer the Bitcoin network. I like the stability. I like SHA-256. I like proof of work. I want to support Bitcoin at all costs. But if I'm trying to buy a latte at Starbucks, I can't do that with Bitcoin. Even with Lightning Network, it's difficult to set up channels. It's not as easy as, I'll just use layer 2. You have to do a whole bunch of stuff to get that to work. Not a big fan. How easy to hack altcoins? NJ, great question. So to hack altcoins, I think that your risk for all these cryptos, it's not about your public address getting hacked. It's more about the exchanges where you keep those cryptocurrencies getting hacked. I've got a bunch of cryptocurrency on my cell phone. There's a risk that someone could get into that. They could get into my phone, access my cryptocurrency, and take that cryptocurrency off. So there's that type of hack. But someone actually hacking your private key, I don't think that's going to happen on any of these. Now, that said, there's a lot of different technologies. So, proof of work to me, the way it's constructed, if it's decentralized enough, is probably the safest. But you have proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, Byzantine fault tolerance, directed acyclic graphs, you have hash graphs, you have proof of effort, you have proof of history, you have proof of time. These are all consensus algorithms that are used by different projects. So it's not as easy as saying, this one is this type, right? There's a whole bunch of different backends and consensus algorithms that they use, and I'm not enough of a coder to understand the risks and vulnerabilities of each of those systems. I'm sure that there are some that are much riskier than others, right? Some that pose significant risk because of decentralization, or sorry, they pose a risk because of centralization. Number two, because of how the scripting and encryption is done might be more vulnerable, but that I don't know. I know that I'm not concerned about that, about someone hacking or stealing my stuff. I'm more concerned with the exchanges that I keep them on. Your Krakens, your Binance, your Celsius, your BlockFi, your Coinbase. I'm worried about those getting hacked. That to me is where the main problem lies. Merlin, would you buy latte with gold? Nope, I wouldn't buy latte with gold. I wouldn't buy a latte with my Bitcoin either. I would own one that it was more of a, let's call it a shit coin or an altcoin that has high-speed transactions. So if you look at something like, I've always talked about EOS. If they were to use EOS, which is supposed to have almost instantaneous transactions with no fees, I'd be using EOS everywhere, right? I don't mind using a cryptocurrency. I just don't want to buy, I don't want to spend my cryptocurrencies that I feel are going to be worth a ton down the road. I mean, that's why I'm so excited about my Bitcoin credit card, right? I'm getting all my rewards in Bitcoin. I'm never going to spend any of that stuff. I'm going to let that Bitcoin reward just keep building and building and building because I think Bitcoin will be worth a lot more down the road, definitely in 5 to 10 years. Let's see. Bitcoin's never meant to be. Yes, of course it wasn't. Well, that's technically not true quite, Brendan, because remember when it was created, it was designed to be a peer-to-peer payment system. So it was designed to make payments, but not on the speed that we'd expect those payments to be right away. And I know that was a vulnerability up front. Who knows how deep Satoshi Nakamoto thought it out, but clearly if you look at the structure of Bitcoin, it's not meant to be a payment system in that sense, a fast payment system. There can really only be one dominant proof of work chain overall, especially regarding security. So yes. What else we got? Merlin, I think you convinced me to buy Bitcoin. The cookie cutter comment was SHA-256 getting hacked is like winning 3 lottery tickets in a row. I think we even made it longer than that, didn't we? I can actually run the math on you, but yeah, the odds of somebody stealing your Bitcoin, it's probably, I think maybe even longer than that, of winning 3 jackpots in a row. Boom, 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 boom. I think your odds are 1 in 256 million of getting the jackpot. Your odds of getting a private key are like 1 in, the string of characters is like 42 zeros. Good luck getting that one. All right, what else do we have? Litecoin is certainly made obsolete by something like the next generation proof of stake. Yes, and I think that's where we're headed. That's why I talk about generations of cryptocurrency, of Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. Right now we are at the tail end, I think, of tail 3, and I don't even know what Gen 4 is going to look like. It'll certainly be an evolution of our technology we have now. But what's the main focus been? The main focus has been scalability, right? People aren't so concerned with transactions. Yes, they've modified and made them heavy transactions, but it's like, how fast and wide can we get this acceptance? Does the network start to bog down if we open it up to the world and everybody's using that system? Like Bitcoin or Ethereum, those got bottlenecked big time. If we build the structure where it's allowed to not only handle the mass population scalability, but also transactions per second, now you've got something that literally can stack up against Visa, MasterCard, any payment system out there, and that's the one I'm hoping to have in my portfolio. And Brendan is totally right. He says proof of stake, POS is proof of stake, not piece of shit. Proof of stake will never be as secure as proof of work. Agreed. Correct. There's vulnerabilities to each of the consensus algorithms. We won't go in depth on that here, but proof of stake is certainly better for the environment, but there is an inherent risk of people getting too much power with regards to staking. If someone gets over 51% of the staking pool, they can make bogus transactions. Just a risk of the system. Brendan says Swift equals payment system. Yes, Swift is one of the worst, right? I think Swift is this old, and I think this was Jack Dorsey's argument when they talked about it on that conference call last week. Jack Dorsey was saying, we have a system of making electronic payments. We have that in place, but it's old. It's based off of old technology. It moves very slow. It simply does not function the way that it should. So if we have the new technology, it's kind of like, if you look at some of our financial systems infrastructure, it's kind of like the horse and buggy. And what Bitcoin is in cryptocurrency are saying, hey, look, we're going to not only create the car, we're going to put in a high-speed train compared to that horse and buggy. It's like going 2 generations of advancements in technology, in my opinion. Number one is the advancements in you now become your bank, right? So you're in control of everything. And we're decentralizing it all, meaning we're taking away that centralized power. So these are 2 big scale jumps for me on the way the whole financial world is going to function. Swift is ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know how much energy Swift uses. Jerry says he uses 10 times more electricity than Bitcoin. Yeah, but you could see it's such an unfair argument because we could make this argument that, oh, Bitcoin uses as much electricity as the state of, whatever, Switzerland or Argentina, whatever they say it is now. But, how much energy does creating the money supply use? How much does gold take to extract it from the ground, refine it, all that carbon footprint of toxins as they're trying to filter and smelting things out, right? It's kind of a biased argument, but it's a very easy target because we're all used to money. We're all used to gold. But now you look at Bitcoin, it's like, oh, here's this new technology. It's going to destroy us all. Let's point the finger at that and call it bad. That's the nature of the beast. I mean, even the internet back in 1995, a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, don't do that. Oh, it's never going to be anything. It's a scam. Man, our lives would be irreplaceable with the internet gone. I mean, how can you imagine no internet today? A, I couldn't do the show. B, I wouldn't be able to really talk to any of you. C, I couldn't update Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, none of that stuff. I mean, it's so weird how we become so dependent on something in 20 years. And I think that the digital asset space is going to be the same magnitude as that. Let's see. I'm going to go a little bit. What time I got? Holy cow. Oh, amazing how quickly this goes. Bitcoin is a global product. What does Switzerland do for me? They make watches and chocolates? I do like my chocolates. All right, well, we won't go down the Swiss route. We won't. My bank were proud to tell me a couple of weeks ago that they were getting in. Yeah, I know. Actually, then you're getting hosed, Brian. I was mentioning in the presentation, one thing I love about crypto, and I know Brendan is a big part of this as well. If you get 99% on PancakeSwap, that's pretty. But you're taking some risks there. You get 99%, you're kind of getting up there on the risk scale. But it's kind of funny when you look at those numbers. The average savings rate in the U.S. is 0.1%. And I'm just like, 0.1? And inflation, let's just say, is 4%? It means I'm losing 3.9% by keeping my money at the bank. Why would I do something like that? So, yeah. And Shinobi's talking about PancakeSwap getting 99%. Awesome. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do to be generating yield far and above your savings account. You've got liquidity pools, automated market makers. You've got staking, different yield farming techniques. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do. It's kind of confusing on a lot of the fronts, especially when we look at things like impermanent loss and the risks facing some of these strategies. But at least it's opening the door to a whole new set of tools, resources, protocols, and to me, that's what's really exciting. All right, let me go back here. There was a question. Jerry says, Merlin, Brendan, who do you think Satoshi Nakamoto really is? That's a good one. I don't know if I really have a thought on it. Personally, if I go the conspiracy route here, I think this is NSA. I do think that you have a technology that seems very advanced, right? And if it's all anonymous, I guess one of the reasons people say is, well, why would Satoshi Nakamoto want to remain anonymous? And if he was to release a competing currency, technically in the U.S., that you can go to jail for that. John O'Donnell was talking about some guy who was creating, I think it was called American bucks or silver bucks or something like that, where it was a competing currency and he's literally in jail for it. So I think maybe that was the thought of him being anonymous, but boy, it does sound like something the NSA would do. Like, let's put this out there as a test, see how it works. It's a completely trackable database. We'll let people play with that, see what it's like, and then we'll reel it all in later on down the road. I don't know. I don't particularly care. I think it's probably one of the greatest mysteries of all time. I mean, Jimmy Hoffa, who cares, right? Where's he buried? No big deal. But Bitcoin and how this all came to be, it's fascinating to think that this technology, and I know some of you are still skeptical on it, but this does have the potential to become its own completely standalone monetary system for the globe. And it might not necessarily be Bitcoin, but the technology with blockchain and decentralized ledgers could theoretically replace all fiat currencies if we went to one global currency. Do governments want that? Hell no, they can't manipulate things if they do that. So they're going to fight it tooth and nail. But who wins with this system? Who wins with Bitcoin? We do. The people do. I mean, I believe the number was something like 70% of El Salvador doesn't have access to a banking system. Now they do, because they can be their own bank with Bitcoin. To me, that's huge power. And everybody watching this right now, we're privileged, right? We have banking systems. We have technology. We have access to information, money, financial systems. We are in a better position than a lot of the world. Some of the world is not in that position. All right, they can't even put their money in a bank. They have no place to store it, get paid properly. It's crazy. But if we can replace these failed systems around the world with this, it's phenomenal to think how powerful it can be. Anyway, soapbox. I thought he was at the corner of Dallas Stadium in Dallas. Can we go over the overall markets? Yes, sure. I'll do some market wrap up here. Not much to talk about with regards to market wrap ups. I'll be honest. Take a peek at our markets today. You had, not the most exciting day with regards to market activity. Obviously, Bitcoin. Right now, it's up 17% in the futures. It was up 28% earlier. It was really, look how much it's come off its highs. Huge volume on the futures contract. My guess is this is largely due to short squeezes. And, we talk about how the cryptocurrency market is awesome because it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. No breaks, right? Well, look at this big gap. You had a gap on Bitcoin futures that went from 32,000 all the way up to, let's call it 3,450. That's a $2,500 jump gap on this. Anybody who was short just got kicked in the nuts on that one. That hurt. And then all of a sudden, it just kept on running as those short squeezes were being liquidated, right? Those futures, short futures contracts get liquidated, and this thing just ripped up. Awesome. Love it, right? Squeeze those shorts. But that was your number one. Russell 2000 finishing at 0.3%. I'm going to zoom up here, or zoom out, and you'll notice there's nothing noteworthy about Litecoin. Tell you where my brain's at. About Russell, right? It's 4 days in a row where it's been in this very tight little range. 4 days in a row, nothing big, 0.3%. S&P 500. Now, this one's more interesting because we did break through an all-time high. Volume was decisively lower on the ES today. Futures volume was pretty low, but that's normal going into what happens. Tomorrow is going to be a monster day, and I'll show you that here in just a second. NASDAQ 100, same thing. Small candle. Really, it's kind of a hanging man formation right at the top. I'll squeeze my chart down so we can see this a little bit clearer. All right, so there's your 5-day run of just nothing but green, but hold on a second. This is a little bit of hesitation here. Now, Tesla might jump it tomorrow morning for the NQ. I'll show you NASDAQ in just a second. Crude oil, right at that line we established there. It was the lows from back in June, or the yellow box we had is at retest here. I had a decent range on crude oil, but really no end-of-day movement, right? Pretty much unchanged. I feel for those newbies out there that decided to short thinking they were going to make tons of money. Well, Gretchen, again, you go back to the price chart of Bitcoin, it was down. It was an aggressive down, just trending down. So why not be short? But unfortunately, you get caught in a short position. That's one of the risks, man. Oof. Here's your 10-year, no big deal on that one. And then gold also showing down just a little bit. Continuing to my surprise, actually this slow drift. I actually thought we would stop at 1,800 on gold. But it looks like we're going to continue to drift lower here on gold. We'll have to wait and see how that one pans out. Now, the real news today is this, TSLA. Here's your Tesla chart. Now, this is the daily of Tesla. I'll put a line on snap mode right where we closed at so you guys can see that. We closed at 657.62 on Tesla. You're like, okay, great. Looks good. Tesla's looking good. And then you go to your 5-minute, and there's what it's done after hours. So in the after hours session, you had a pretty big spike up for Tesla. Jumped all the way up to a high of 677. So a jump of about $20, which really isn't that much for a $600 stock. But that is the main news in the after hours session. And I'll show you a couple of other things here. So here's what we had in the after hours. Tesla's earnings, they blew out earnings. They're expected to make 90 cents. They came out with 145. So great move up there. 61% surprise. Only up 1% though. All right. Now it's up more than that in the after hours session. This is for the day, not including the after hours. Lockheed Martin was another one that reported earnings. They actually beat earnings as well. But I generally don't look at New York stocks. This is an NYSE one. They tend to trade weird on earnings announcements, so I didn't really pay attention to that one. All right, economic announcements. Now, the only reason I brought this up is new home sales. We've talked about how robust the housing market has been, how new home sales have just been soaring, which is a good sign of economic health. The expectation was we're going to go from 724,000 new homes sold to 800,000, right? An increase of 26. Not only did we not go up, we went down to the tune of almost 50,000 on those home sales. That's a huge spread of error. It's about 124,000 homes different between actual and expectation. That's not good, but it's still not a trend. It's just 1 point data. We'll have to wait and see how that chart strings together on the next announcement. So here's what's cooking for tomorrow. a very big day. I'm going to start off with the before market open stuff, and that's simply General Electric, GE, right? We'll see how they do before market opens. No big deal. After market close tomorrow, you have a plethora of monsters reporting. Apple, Microsoft, AMD, Visa, Google, and Google L, and Starbucks. Now, these are just some of the top ones. I'm cherry picking the big names here. Those are the big boys, and boy, I'll tell you, that's going to really dictate how the market trades on Wednesday, is how Apple, Microsoft, and Google report their earnings. Those are, two of which are over $2 trillion market caps. If you look at Google L, it says 1.7. Well, remember, if you combine the two Googles, you're looking at a pretty big market cap as well. So, monstrous day tomorrow after hours. And on the economic announcement, there's also some pretty important stuff. You can see here, we're talking, CliK, where is it? There we go. Durable goods orders. So, I kind of broke these up really with the intent of showing you the stuff that happens pre-market. In that red box, you have durable goods orders and core durable goods, expecting to see the durable goods orders drop and core increase. Down further below, still before market open at 6 a.m., you have home price index and Case-Shiller Composite 20 home price index, which they're expecting to jump to 16.1%. That's unbelievable year-over-year growth on houses. But anybody who's buying, you've seen it. It's just soaring. And at 7 o'clock, you have CB Consumer Confidence and Richmond Manufacturing Earnings. Down below that, you can see we've got a couple things like Nationwide Home Price Index coming out for the UK, but other than that, not too much on the docket. All right, so for tomorrow, I would love to be here and do a show with you tomorrow, but I have a leadership meeting that I can't get out of. It's my one Tuesday a month that I have to miss, so I won't be there tomorrow, which kind of sucks because I'd love to go over the earnings announcements with you. I am excited to say, though, I talked to Tilly, who is feeling better, and she's going to be coming on the program for Wednesday's show. So if you guys have questions for Tilly or me, very easy. You can just send an email to TraderMerlin@gmail.com. Let me know what it is you'd like to talk about. As you guys know by now, I'm always I'm always open to suggestions. Brendan is just keep hounding me. I just been too lazy to go and get the guy on the show. But yes, we'll get Mr. Marino on the program at some point. I just have to get off my butt and organize and get that all done. And you notice there hasn't been a lot of guests lately. It's because I've been so busy. I haven't had time to reach out to all these guests and get them on the show. So I'm doing what I can, But Tilly will be the guest on Wednesday. If you guys have questions for her, send them on in at TraderMerlin@gmail.com. If you are new to the program, definitely send me or hit that subscribe button. Also hit that thumbs up. Yeah, Brandon, I'm a leader, man. I'm a leader. Just unlike you as a follower, But I'm dumb. Yes, 10 Tick Tilly will be on the program tomorrow. Wednesday. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I'm going to go out and enjoy a little bit of muggy weather out here in Southern California. Hope you guys all have a fantastic remainder of your day. Enjoy that crypto surge and be careful with those earnings tomorrow. It's going to be a wild one as those markets close tomorrow. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Take care.